Hello, good evening. It's nice to see all you this evening. I'm Alex Trainman Montagano, of you who may not know. I'm running in Loyola, and I have the distinction of being half Italian. And I don't know if you know the history of Montreal as it relates to the birth of community gardens, but it all happened in an abandoned lot, and the Italians took it over and made some community gardens. And then the landlord or the landowner tried to take that land back, and in the tradition of Italians, there was a small riot. And that motivated the city to introduce the concept of community gardens throughout the city, in which my grandfather, Giuseppe Montagano, also had his garden. And we can see throughout the community where individuals have taken action by themselves and have produced foodstuffs, especially during the tracks just up here. And this has led to a vehicle for people to grow food and provide food for their families it's not necessarily they're able to get through the the regular traditional networks. But I'm a numbers guy, right? Je suis un entrepreneur. Je suis un entrepreneur général. Je travaille dans la construction et j'ai fait mon bac dans sciences politiques et mes autres études dans les autres finances. Et le grand problème dans l'arrondissement, the big problem in our NDG, and the reason why I'm running, is we are the largest borough in the city of Montreal, 180,000 people, and we are systemically underfinanced by the city of Montreal, and that affects us all in different ways. It affects us in terms of food security. It affects the ability of community organizations like the NDG Food Depot to deliver food to the population. And we are now living in a city where the central city is pushing down responsibility to the boroughs, and they're being forced to raise taxes, borough taxes. And this is a system that is not based on equality. It's not progressive. And every year that this goes by, we're going to get poorer and poorer, and it's going to start affecting us in negative ways, both in a quality of life index and also, believe it or not, the value of our homes, because CDNEG is going to be pegged as a poor borough. Now, the reason why this is happening dates back to the Tremblay-Applebaum years when this financial system was put in place. And to me, everything starts with there. If we're not provided the resources, if you look over the NDG Food Depot's documentation, they always talk about resources not being provided the funding they need to be successful. And it all relates back to the way the city has organized itself from a taxation point of view, the formula that dictates what boroughs get what, and a borough taxation system that really is unequal, because you have boroughs will have a higher capacity to tax than other boroughs. So when we're talking about food security, we're talking about programs to address vulnerable populations within the borough. This all comes down to the city providing us the resources we need. And my recent foray into the access information trial with the city of Montreal, I discovered that the city has an accelerator to determine what boroughs get what in terms of funds based on vulnerable populations. And they're using dated information that's 20 years old. So what you're having it skews the data, and now you're having boroughs who are actually growing and with condos and experiencing gentrification, and they're receiving monies pegged for vulnerable populations that is not going to vulnerable populations. It's actually going to privileged populations. So these are the ways in which I want to come to council and represent you, be your voice, not a party. Because I've seen Ensemble Montreal, Union Tremblay, I've seen Projet Montréal. They've all promised to fix the problem, but they haven't. And every year that this problem continues is really something that is very dangerous for us as a community. Thank you for your time. Bye.
Thank you. Merci. Thank you so much to all of the candidates. Merci beaucoup à tous les candidats, candidates pour donner une réponse à nos revendications, for giving an answer to our asks and explaining more about how their platform addresses food security, housing security, affordability, etc. Alors merci beaucoup. On est très reconnaissante pour votre temps. We are going to open it up to the audience for a Q&A. We're going to start with a member of our Social Justice Committee, Karen. I'm going to invite you up, and then we're going to and then we're going to open it up to others, and then hopefully at the end have more time for informal conversation avec les candidats. But the way that the question period is going to work is we ask you to keep your questions as concise as possible. Alors, gardez vos questions le plus courtes que possible. Puis, restez sur le sujet, si possible, de l'abordabilité, anti-pauvreté, sécurité alimentaire, sécurité logement. Restez sur le sujet. Encore, je vous invite d'aller à l'autre événement de le Conseil communautaire NDG après cet événement avec le débat de maire. So there's a mayoral debate after our event. I invite you to go to that event if you want to talk about things that are not as related to what we're talking about today. We're trying to stay short and concise. So we're asking, when you ask a question, please address it to two parties because we're not going to have time for all the parties to answer all the questions. And then each party will have 2 minutes to answer the question. Okay? Do I still have Tasha somewhere? Okay, she's in the back keeping time still. Is she? I need. Okay. I need a time keep.